We've got another clip to show you today, and this has to do with, it's a little bit long, but it's the difficulty between Rebecca and her mom. Either you confront and fight, or you just join them. I believe she's chosen to just join. But really, this is the history. This is the root of the problem. Take a look.
She said, I cannot see the grandkids anymore. I can't post anything.
She doesn't
Just going on and on. So mean. And saying I was full of the devil, that I had demons, that he cast a spell on me. This is what she said to me. And it's not going to continue to happen.
Yeah, you guys just need to get
emotional deregulation.
time with one another and work through all this. Well, maybe not now, but at some point.
I did tell her she was entitled and self-absorbed and selfish. I did say, and she's like, you will not speak those words over me. I said, but they're true. I mean, after she railed and railed and railed, and I tried to leave the driveway because Asher was hearing all this. And they had gotten out of the car. Here I had come to just spend time with him. That's all I wanted. And I start to pull out, and she opens the passenger door and continues. I said, please shut the door. She said, shut the door. Please shut the door. So these are the things you want here. So then I have to put the car in park, get out of my side, come around, and shut the door. There's her and Asher standing there. I said, leave the door closed. I'm going. This is over. I get back in to drive away. She opens the door again. I get out, go around, close the door, and then I pull out. And so I had no idea that was going to happen. If I had known that encounter, I wouldn't have even gone by to get Asher. The whole first hour was good. It started.
How did it switch?
When I said, she said, Mom, she said, you really hurt my feelings by kicking me out of the house. I said, I didn't kick you out of the house. I told you that while I was in Colorado, I didn't feel comfortable with y'all going into the house without me being there. And she kept using that. Well, when you kick somebody in the house, they're in the house, and you kick them out, right? So that was the thing.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Jimmy actually about this. I'm paying for the 1-year birthday party like I always do. Mm-hmm. And so it's coming up, and he said, and she said,
tomorrow, right?
Huh?
Tomorrow, right?
No, she moved it back to
She moved. So is Doug, she said, I don't want Doug there. And I said, if I pay for the party, and it's at my house, and he's here for the weekend, he's going to be there. Mm. And that was the trigger. Well, you told me he didn't have to. I said, I never told you that. You told me that, but I never told you I was going to buy that. Yeah. I actually talked to Jimmy about this, and he said, you absolutely got to draw that boundary now. He's going to be in your family, and you don't let her manipulate you like that. And
if she tries it now, she'll try it later.
I'm blaming her.
Yeah, I just.
So she said, you're taking away your 1-year-old grandson's birthday party. I said,
no, you're taking it.
I said, I'm not taking it away. I
You're
said,
paying
I'll
thousands of
pay
dollars
for it.
You're paying
And
thousands
we'll
of
have
dollars
it, but
for
you're
it.
not going to manipulate me and tell me exactly. So it was crazy. And so he heard her on the phone when she called me.
Because she was yelling, not because you were.
I didn't have her on
Oh, no, speaking. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
she was yelling.
Yeah, because it was so loud.
We were playing Scrabble, so we were like,
It wasn't
my
her
mom
case.
said, here, listen to this nonsense. She wasn't trying to uncover her at all. Rebecca uncovered herself. She's yelling, I'm going to hold you to standard. You're not being a Christian mom, and this is evil. And then I'm like, I actually like Rebecca, but I was like, what the heck?
And I have been guilty of
Not happy about it.
placating that. I mean, y'all.
I think a whole family.
Just trying to be a good mother, but Rachel has actually been very respectful towards me. She may be saying something totally different, but at least I respect that. And she's been nice to him.
They both have.
Rebecca was very rude to Doug.
She didn't acknowledge me was walking by, and they were around. They didn't look at me.
Yeah, he just said hello.
Right, well,
He was like, what is up with
Talk to me.
Rebecca?
You're dirt. I can feel me. What is that? I mean, I guess, but like, what is that?
I hope Rebecca finds herself again. I hope Rebecca is able to find that voice that was speaking the truth about Joni Lamb. That's what happened. Dr. Doug gets in there and, just Rebecca's just off her gourd and talking about how Joni's got demons and everything. Man, that's probably the Lord, the Holy Spirit, letting you know what is happening and what is going on. And somehow Joni's in there. You're not going to manipulate me with your things, when the actual real manipulator is Joni Lamb. I think we need to pray for Rebecca and JW. I think Rebecca has a call on her life. She's talked about her calling. She's talked about how God called her when she was young. I think she was at a youth camp or something like that. I've heard her testimony. She felt the Lord's call on her, and you can see, I mean, I like her as a person. I see the Lord in her. I have never really once been able to see that in Rachel. But in Rebecca, I've seen that she's got a tender heart. Remember when she asked RFK, what do you do when you need to speak the truth, but something is so painful, like there would be huge consequences to it. Do you remember that one, JT? We aired that a while ago. And she was interviewing RFK, and she began to cry because it was so serious to her. It was so serious. I'm going to close today with a very, very powerful scripture in a few minutes about successors, about family lines, about what it takes to follow the Lord. What are the consequences if we do not? There's another woman creating quite a bit of trouble these days, and that's Candace Owens. And I just want to say that there's been some responses. I'm not following too closely. I'm just, just she's putting stuff out there. And so Frank Turek, he has basically come out, and I think the word he's saying is to shut up. And it's interesting that strong women are good. And I believe that the Lord created us to be strong. But there is an element of when somebody gets onto the wrong track, it can be absolutely devastating. And I believe devastating for themselves and society. And in both these women, Joni Lamb and Candace Owens, we've seen this. This is Frank Turek basically responding to what Candace Owens has been saying.
It sucks too, because you listen to people like Candace Owens, like right now with her conspiracy theories and stuff, and like, I don't know, man, I'm getting more and more thinking the best thing that could happen to humanity is the internet could go down.
Yeah, as soon as we lose Wi-Fi, we're all upset, but that might be the best thing that happens to us. By the way, I haven't followed a lot of what Candace Owens has done, but I will say what I have seen, there's a difference between a possibility and evidence for a possibility. You can speculate on anything you want, but unless you have evidence, shut up. Okay? Because all you're doing is causing dissension among the brothers, which is something the Lord hates. If you want to present a possibility and say, well, this could be true, okay, it could be true, but don't accuse people for doing something for which you have no evidence. I heard today, I guess I hadn't seen it myself, but I heard today she was judging people who didn't act the right way. I don't know if anyone seen this video? She, according to Candace Owens, these people did not act the right way after Charlie's death. Like my friend Mikey McCoy, the brilliant 24-year-old who at the time when Charlie was shot was 23 and was a hero that day. He apparently didn't act the right way according to Candace Owens. He didn't act normal. Newsflash, there is no normal when you're in shock. There is no normal when an abnormal thing happens. Some people are going to act one way, other people are going to act another way. You don't know how you would react. I didn't know how I would react. The only reason that I did what I did is because I thought about it beforehand. I was afraid somebody would take a shot at Charlie, and I thought to myself, if it does happen, what am I going to do? Decide now. And what I wanted to do would do anything I could to save him. In that sense, if it had to happen, I was glad I was there, because now I know there's nothing I could have done. Nobody could have done anything. He was gone already. We learned that later when we got, looking at him, I thought he was gone, but it was verified when we got to the hospital. But don't say that because I'm observing, psychologists know you can't even get in somebody's head when they're on the couch. And yet you're going to judge people on video from afar? Save it. You're adding pain to people who had enough pain. Next time I'll tell you what I really think.
It sucks.
Well, we're almost done today, but I just have to, agree with Frank. I think all of us act very differently when there's a crisis. Some people, just kind of go crazy. You can't think. And this young 23-year-old can hardly be blamed for, acting in a crazy way. When you hear and listen to Candace, it's all a conspiracy theory. Like there's all a reason. Like there's a reason that they took the cameras down and removed the footage. And meanwhile, if it was my camera and my footage, I would want to take the camera down to make sure that I secured it. And she's just got ways and means of putting out stuff that makes people kind of upset. And, and then I've got some of my friends, writing and saying, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And whenever I hear her, I go, it's kind of like what Frank Turek said there. I mean, if you have evidence, then yes. But if you're just speculating and, like somebody is, demonized because they fell to the ground and threw up, when in actual fact they had food poisoning and they weren't feeling good and they threw up and fell to the ground because they're very sick. It just depends what you choose to see in a moment, and it's very subjective. And with Candace Owens, she's really trying to find everything wrong right now, and it's dangerous. It really is, and ridiculous. And she's probably this is going to be like JFK and go on for forever and ever. And I do hope that the FBI is straight up. They said that they were going to track down every conspiracy theory, that they were going to look into every possible thing. And then some people say, well, they're not, saying enough. They're not saying anything more. But as we have already we saw an expert and we played their clip on this show where they were saying that you don't tell what you know because it can become it can taint the evidence that's out there. Sometimes you just don't say what you know because it's harmful to the case. And so with Candace, she is just throwing it all out there. She says that Charlie was her friend, and yet she's just trying to literally destroy Turning Point. And it's no wonder, I'm sure Erica does not want anything to do with her. And when it all first came out, I guess she friended Erica, and then I remember watching her and she's watching and she's like, yes, Erica, as she's watching an Erica thing. And you could just tell that something's wrong with Candace. Like she's not being authentic. There's nothing authentic about it. She does need clicks and she needs to make stuff up at this point, and she's enjoying getting her millions of views for ridiculousness. But I am relieved that she finally declared that it was true that Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck and that the bullet was stopped by his neck. She got that. Took her 3 weeks. The rest of us knew pretty much right away.